before that gets up and running, let's go to my own channel. And before that gets up and running, let's go to my own channel. Huh. Oh, too much talking coming from there. That is fine. Just need to make sure that that was still running. Okay. There we go. That is definitely being weird that it is simultaneously showing it running. There we go. It's weird because it was simultaneously showing my channel as, hey, he's offline, and also running at the same time. So there we go. Excellent. Let's go ahead and turn that off now that we've got that going. And I suppose probably the best thing to do would be to grab some sort of streaming list of some sort. Okay, excellent. We'll stick with lo-fi hip-hop radio or whatnot because it says you can go ahead and use it in the live stream, so that's good to know. So today, starting off, I have very simply the Lego Ideas dinosaur kit. So I'm looking forward to this because it seemed like a cool idea. Give some people a moment to see if anybody pops in. Spread around the link a little bit while I'm doing so. Alright, I'll go ahead and pop this open. I have not actually cut this open or anything. There we go. Following all our things. Gather support. This is their ideas section, so it's kind of like people can actually propose these and then they will review them and take them up for voting. Let's see how many bags? Looks like 4. Alright, so it's bag 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Excuse me. Oh, interesting. So let's grab this, and we'll set all of this out of our way for now. And on that note, I'll be back in just one moment. I'm just realizing that I haven't grabbed a drink before I started. So I'm going to turn off this camera for a moment and mute myself. Leave you guys with the chill hip hop. And I return. Me and me again. Maybe the focus gets a little bit better. I guess that'll do. Alright, so which one starts with bag number 1? Ah, this one does. Right, set everything off to the side so it's out of my way for a little bit. Here, by the way, are the 3 dinosaurs we get to build today. And where did this one start? It's kind of weird that they didn't do them as... It's weird that they didn't do them as all one book. Partially because, like, this one has, like this one apparently is where they put the, like, hey, here's my information about designing this. And here's where we start. And we go to this one, then this one. So we're going to start here. Hey Bob, long time no see. Alright. So bag 1. Only problem with building Legos is I do so with this. It's like I've got the microphone here to speak into. So let me see if I can maybe adjust that so it's pointing at the side of my mouth. Are you guys still hearing me good with that? I am, and I was kind of waiting. I wanted to make sure I had at least that I wasn't talking to myself before I told the story. See, when I was very young, my grandfather worked for Fisher-Price, and one of the coolest toys I ever had was this Build Your Own Dinosaurs fossil kit. and they've kind of modified it so that they could release some form of it, but it got discontinued. Like he only had it because it was in the prototype stage, but the parts were deemed like too small and too dangerous. Now, we never ate any of the parts, obviously, because we didn't die from it, but they decided it was too small and too dangerous and never released it. But it was really cool because you could like build the dinosaur skeletons, and then actually you could like take off the Tyrannosaurus's head and put it on the Triceratops body or whatever you wanted to do. So when I saw that they had this Lego fossil kit, I was like, or I thought that was so cool, because it really reminded me of like, it's like, oh, it'd be like building, you know, something from my childhood, except not really, but definitely cool. Hello, hello. Alright, where are we starting? Starting very simplistically. Unfortunately, I don't have a ton of space here, so luckily I'm not building like a Star Destroyer or anything, but we're going to start with our paleontologist, which is neat. I've been very impressed with some of these, like not doing as many of the ideas ones, but I've built a few of the way more complicated, or one or two of the way more complicated ones with a friend. I was on his stream to do, here we go. Oh, no, that's right, I flipped the camera so you can actually see what the direction I'm seeing. I agree. But yeah, it's, so I helped my friend build the Space Shuttle Discovery, and really came to learn like how impressive Legos build stuff can be. Like the way that they'll really pay attention to small details. And another one of those that's really great for looking at that is I watched a full stream from one of the streamers that kind of inspired me to get as deep into this as I got, was Barry Kramer. And oh yeah, absolutely. But he did a build of the like Mario Anniversary question mark block, which the number of like super small things in that build are very impressive. Like all of the blocks that you build are kind of 8 by 8 blocks, so like each of the sides, you know, based on the fact that it's based on Mario 64, like each of the sides of those has 64 like yellow blocks that go into it to really kind of drive home and like reconnect to that in a lot of ways. So I think I need this piece. I think the thing I'm going to call super impressive about this paleontologist is, well, I realize they've been kind of building them for a long time, like all of the little Lego tools. It would be nice if you would maybe focus a little bit. It's like Lego oil can, Lego power drill, Lego wrenches. Alright, this is our first sticker. I actually have something that would be better to use than just grabbing this with my hand, since I am sitting at my desk and have access to my tools. Go. Like you were making fun of him as a book nerd figure. Was he a book nerd considering he has a book? Yeah, I think he might be. Alright, let's see. That's supposed to go in there. Here, shove all of his tools. That goes in there, and apparently the dinosaur egg. Curious if I think the egg had a peg in it, so I could. There we go. Help hold some stuff in place. And one of the bones goes in here, and what else goes in here? This is probably supposed to be his pen or something. And of course his coffee cup. I like how they're specific about, like, okay, all of these parts go in there because this is his tool chest. I need to put in his hammer. And it could be a screwdriver, but I'm going to guess chisel because of the paleontology focus. There we go. Maybe if I... Camera is doing its best, but... Alright. Okay, there we go. Now we actually get to some more exciting of a build. One thing I like with this, and I noted it when I was helping a friend build his set, is that... So here we go. Here's a good example. Hopefully this will resolve well. So you can see that there's the black set here, the black piece here with the white outline. That will indicate the, like, pure black pieces. And I've got dark gray pieces, and even though they look very similar, the best way you can tell them apart is, like, the dark gray has a black outline, and the dark black has a white outline for the pieces. So it's clever way to make it so you can actually tell the two apart. Okay. If I pick this up, that my one friend who was doing that actually picked up the super expensive but super huge. Oh yeah, absolutely. Speaking of my friend who was doing that, that'll be Charlie, the TI guy here. He has been keeping me envious over the past week or two with the gigantic Millennium Falcon build. I think the part that you missed so far, Charlie, is we've built a tiny paleontologist. Including his tiny box of various tools and a little tiny flip open bone notebook. The magnifying glass is good, especially because it is, like, don't know if that's coming through with the angle, it is actually slightly, you know, it works. Okay. The part that always strikes me weird when I'm dealing with these, or when I'm building these ideas kits, is when you have to reach over and grab the parts that were like Lego Connects or something like that. Just a thing I did not deal with when I was a kid. Alright, we've got another sticker here. Yes. Lego Technic, that's right. Connects was the was like it was a different thing that was very similar in the way it went together, I think. No, unfortunately not, but I would very much support a Lego set that had like a little tiny brick of a Lego set. That was something I always liked about, if you've ever seen the really expensive, like, D&D Dungeons & Dragons, like, build the dungeon kits, I'm talking specifically about Dwarven Forge. Dwarven Forge, when I would see their setup at Gen Con, one of their setups, and I think it was a Gen Con exclusive piece that you could get, but like in one of their rooms, it was like kind of a dining room looking thing to put in your dungeon, and then in the middle of that, on the little table in the center of it, they had like a little tiny to scale Dwarven Forge dining room set, like that set as a Dwarven Forge piece for it, and it was always like this adorable fractal thing that I loved. Alright. Now that we've got the stand, I'm going to set the stand to the side because I think we've actually got the exciting piece going on. Where we actually get to build the dinosaur itself now. And just that one, because the piece immediately became like, you know, on a table like this or something like that, the piece was this size, so it's like they couldn't get terribly far down, but technically it would be, that's like 3 levels down basically, because you would be hopefully sitting in your dining room with your dining room table with the Dwarven Forge set that maybe looked very similar to the room you were in, and then in the middle of that, them having their Dwarven Forge sized Dwarven Forge piece. It's like, it was always one of those moments where I'm like, okay, it's too expensive to really get into Dwarven Forge, but like that one piece I want to get a hold of at some point. Just because it amuses me so. Even managing to stream a Lego build, I'm still, you know, very much envious of your okay, quite frankly, impoverishing level Lego sets. The, you know, like the giant Millennium Falcon or some of the other, like the space ones are really cool, like the Discovery that legitimately would not fit within my camera angle here. Just because it's like, oh man, I really love the moment where you can kind of sit down and start playing with or start putting the Legos together. But let's see, this set has, I think, about 900 something pieces, and 910. I can definitely believe that. I thought of you when I saw, oh, quite a few of the Lego Disney stuff they've been putting out. But especially the, like, the Disney World Castle. Yeah. Yeah. Did you manage to, like, avoid buying the Titanic, or are you... Charlie saw the big Millennium Falcon come up for availability and then made a very poor choice, because that thing's like $700. I mean, I say poor choice, but I can only say that because obviously I'm jealous. Oh, it's not out yet? Oh boy. Well, just from wanting to play of it, if you... You're very right, Heather. You know, it's... There's one coming out. It is going to be like, I think their biggest piece they ever built. You can literally take the sections apart when it comes out, but they're like announcing it now. Announcing's probably the wrong term, but they've been showing off that it's coming out. No, that's not the wrong term. They literally did announce, hey, we're putting out a Lego Titanic. It's going to be to scale and ridiculous. And yeah, considering some of the other build stuff they've done, you know, like I was mentioning earlier, I don't know if you were on by that point, Charlie, but I watched somebody build the Super Mario question block, and there is so much more to that thing than even like the trailer showed off. You know, stuff like, oh, if you take out the little tiny Mario man, who is so, like, they've made a Mario that is smaller than, like, he barely comes up like halfway up the second peg on this 1x2, and if you take him and the little Bowser out and flip open the little thing and put them inside, you can do like the Mario swinging Bowser by the tail thing. Or the fact that like each of the facets of that cube are 8x8 so that they create a 64 square piece to make each of the question blocks. You know, because it is in memory of the, or not in memory, but is commemorating the, you know, Super Mario 64. Like, that thing is impressive. Yeah, that was definitely a bit, watching the stream, they turned it on and immediately became, it's like, oh, come on, you can do the so long, Bowser. So long, okay, Bowser. Alright. Ladies and gentlemen, we have legs. Just run around adorable like that now. I mean, the bulldozer was definitely a cool choice. I probably would have gone the Mario because I'm a little less into construction equipment. It's gonna be a little difficult to make feet kiss. You're not in that section of the internet right now. Alright, never be said that I won't, you know, debase myself to please an audience. Kiss, kiss, kiss. Fight, fight, fight. Kiss, kiss, kiss. Alright, and I need one more of those. Peace. Oh, is that fun moment where your eyes pan over the whole thing and go, I don't see it, I don't see it. Everybody panic. I also like different symbols they have in here, like this means basically flip the whole thing over so you're looking at the other side. I'm not entirely sure what piece that's going to be. It looks like I'm going to build, next I'm going to build a sickle. Probably the arm if I'm actually more honest than silly about it. Okay, got that. But yeah, just the hours it took you to, could be. Yeah, just the hours it took you to get through the, Millennium Falcon build. Just sitting there the entire time like, oh god. The way life was going, I could really use a multi-hour Lego build. Is the problem where it's like, I discovered early on in the quarantine, I am not a jigsaw puzzle guy. I tried to build a Star Trek one, which was great until I'd built the spaceship and all of the words and all that sort of stuff, and the 3 different ships, the Enterprise D, the Romulan Warbird, and the Klingon Bird of Prey, and then looked at an entire set of like nothing but grainy 90s VHS resolution Starfield, and just went, well, tried it for like 2 different nights for an hour each and went, no, put the whole thing back away, got a smaller puzzle, got it all together, and then came down to one missing piece. Went, all right, fine, tore that puzzle apart, threw it away because I'd gotten it very cheaply at like Sharp Shopper for like $2 or something like that. Then 3 days later I found the piece that was missing and went, okay, great. Yeah, no, I'm just not a jigsaw puzzle guy. But that, like, that instinct is very much served, and like, well, I should be building a second one of these at the same time. Like, I have found the way that people talk about jigsaw puzzles is very well served by Legos. The biggest problem is that, boy, is there a price difference between being between jigsaws and Legos. So I can about afford Lego. I can just about afford Lego, let's say like $50 to $60 at a time. And then you get to like the ones that I know are going to take me longer than like 45 minutes are always going to be the ones where it's like, okay, so this one costs more than a PlayStation 5, even with a scalper markup. And of course, the way things are going, I'm sure like even those they're like flying off the shelves and taking a while to get to places. Excuse me. Okay, so that instinct was correct. We are... I mean, it's a giant flying dinosaur that could eat you, so I can't say that it's not true, but what we are building are not giant scythes, but we're building wings. There it is. Okay, so then like that. So we want that to kind of match on the other side. Click one down. And then those go. Go. This part here, which I've seen this move once before, but like this feels weirdly like dark magic. It's like that doesn't feel like I've put that in the right place, but okay. This. Which piece? And big horn towards the gray piece. There we go. Got a nice ball joint going on there. Do you know off the top of your head what the Titanic's supposed to go for? I know that's a huge set, so... Ah, that's how we're getting away with the... You have fun with your classwork. It's slightly surprising that it's only like $650-ish, but I guess there's not the hefty Star Wars license price on top of that. Because just size alone, you would expect that to be, you know, more expensive than the Falcon just from that, but I suppose... Alright, and... you know, it's awful nice of them to give me some extra pieces, but when they do, and you get to the end, and you're just looking at like a small pile of stuff, you're like, uh-oh, what did I miss? There we go. Nice. Alright, so that is our Pteranodon Longiceps, as well as our dude, and I'm going to tuck all of the rest of his stuff back into this box that they probably don't fit in. That's right, stuff that came with the archaeologist. Lego power drill. Alfred the paleontologist or Alfred the pterodactyl? You know, I've known some people in this field, and it is not wrong that he's got 10 pounds of shit for a 5-pound box. Alright, I'm gonna set you off to the side here. Let you hover into frame a little bit. Hopefully you don't... That's that one done. And now our next one, which is a little bit beefier of a book. Like I said, weird that, like... So, I'm just gonna say, book 2 is this book because it's, like, that was all bag 1 and this is bag 2 and 3. Excuse me. Yeah, so this has bag 2 and 3, but this also has like all of the introduction. Hey, here's the Lego designer and the fan designer. Here's all this stuff. All the information, which is always really cool to have in here. And then it's neat that it's in like You've literally got pages of it in French and in Spanish. But like I said, weird to me that they take bag 2 and 3 and put them in this instead of having like one big bound book. Like, and I say that because like I've seen the book for the Millennium Falcon, and it is thick and large, but it's one of those like, why is... okay, I guess not. Alright, so start at bag 2. Very important step, as learned from the Discovery build at the very least, is, okay, need to make sure there's no Legos left in the bag, and then set it off somewhere safe just in case I'm wrong. Alright, set some of this stuff, including these several large plates, off to the side. Have you figured out a crate solution to get the Millennium Falcon home from Vermont? Alright, neat. Our first thing to build is going to be our Lego Sapien. Where is that first piece? This piece. It's a weird steppy piece. This is not the piece we're looking for. We will need this piece and that, and the glare on my own stuff is making it difficult to see. We need this piece. Here's our weird steppy piece. Okay, there's that, and switch you this side too. Okay. I realize that he kind of doesn't need the spot, but I do kind of wish that, like this Lego Sapiens thing, you know, we're building a little stand for it. It would be nice. Oh, excellent. I'm glad to hear that, because I know it was a brief moment of like, uh-oh, how do I get this home safely? Especially considering all the other stuff that you need to bring home from the cabin at the same time. There. It's just like finding the pieces and putting them together. I can't say it's immensely dissatisfying, but there's something slightly less satisfying about the like building the Lego man step when you're going through the instructions. It makes sense because it's just a Lego dude. Also, shame on the fan designer for not sneaking, Oh, you mean using the tweezers? Didn't do a lot of them because I was kind of too young to really, like, do much of it, but I did do some, model building with, like, the decals and stuff like that to apply when I was young, and it was always a bit where it was like, yeah, no, if you use the tweezers, it's much easier to do instead of these gigantic sausage fingers. But there we go. Good old Lego Sapiens. If I maybe stick a hand behind him, there we go. The camera will behave for 20 seconds. Focus. Yeah, there's always the bit where it's like, okay, look, if you're gonna like separate them into bags, maybe like it's like, hey, you've just shown me that there's like 80 pieces that go for this like one piece here. Maybe if those were all in that little tiny bag, so I didn't need to open like all 5 bags that are in part 2 and just spread them out across here so I can lose them all. That might be nice. All right. Now we're into the dinosaur proper. Although I do like looking back here at this page. Bag 2 is the body and Lego Sapien, and bag 3 appears to be the head and tail for the Triceratops. See if I can nudge this down a little bit, because the way my lighting solution is, I've got the lights that are normally like just lights to light up my face, and then I needed to put like a shop light balanced across the top of my monitors in order to make it possible to have here, I'm gonna turn the camera and hopefully it's not too bright to see. But yeah, in order to have enough light, I've just got a LED shop light balanced across the monitors. Fighting off a cold, but at the same time, a cold which has laid low Heather and hit the baby for a few days. But I'm too excited to build the Lego dinosaur set to go like, well, maybe I shouldn't talk on camera for a few hours. It's like, no, must build Legos. Must build Legos now. Alright, what we got? We got the... This is this. Yeah, hopefully making that observation about the how that done. There we go. This is the piece we need. Hopefully making that observation during the Discovery build made things a lot easier when you got to the Millennium Falcon. See, I wouldn't put it down to them for the, like, Lego is very specific about their engineering. The only time I'd, like, accuse them of the meme is if they did, like, oh man, it's like they get a lot of good licenses, but occasionally, like, Mega Bloks gets the license for something, and I'm like, oh. But, like, if there was like a Dragon Ball Z, like Saiyan pod or something like that, and it had over 9,000 pieces, I'd be like, okay, they did that for the meme. Dear Lego, please get the Dragon Ball Z. I'm gonna look into my camera. Please get the Dragon Ball Z license and make a Lego Yamcha hole set. That's all I want. Goku versus the Saiyans, and then in the background, like a little hole that you build that Yamcha lays in. Yeah, I've occasionally been what do I say? Been very tempted to buy there's like a resin model kit type thing, and it's just Vegeta in the Saiyan pod, and it looks so good. But, of course, you know, it's wasn't exactly released here in America normally, so everywhere I've seen it, it's way more than I want to spend on that. In a very dastardly way, they could probably actually convince me to spend the money that I am currently considering to be slightly too much money for it, if they just built it out of Lego. Guys, is this how people get into customizing their own Lego sets or something? Because now I really want, like, I want a Vegeta Lego. Somebody who's not building Lego. Yeah, but I mean, if it doesn't have, like, Bardock and you know, Frieza floating in the remains. But definitely, like, just like a Battlefield set. And then as far as they're, like, Lego putting too much thought into certain things, like, oh yeah, and then if you just, like, lift this part of the plateau in the background, it just comes off like they've sheared off a mountain. Oh, I forgot pieces. Well, so that's supposed to be like that. This thing is going to be so much bigger than I thought it was going to be, like, looking at the picture of it. Because I'm just realizing, like, this is probably going to go here and here, if not this to expand even further or something. See, there it starts. Excuse me. My lighting setup's working against me because it wants to wash out the... Nope, that's not as long a piece I need. Okay, there we go. Wants to wash out the entirety of the, like, I'm getting bad glare on my slightly shiny instructions sheets. Ah, predicted correctly. Alright, so let's see. Got a yellow piece here. Yep, that makes sense. There, and that piece there, and then we're putting 6 piece. Alright, more cover up. You're hiding away the, Nope, there we go. Nope, that's not the length I need, right? No, there we go. Yeah, it is the length I need. I think that means I put the wrong size here. So grab the big ones for that. Alright. Too much mumbling to myself. there. And that's there. Okay. This is where the super long one goes. Okay, that's facing the wrong direction, that's why. Right? No. It's facing the right direction. Okay, I see here. There we go. That. Again, it's kind of trying to hide itself from me, so... Or at least the light is trying to hide it from me. Alright. So I need this spiky piece here. Go there with 2 bits on top of it. What's the temperature up there in Vermont tonight? Nice. It is bumped back up to a little bit warmer today, but it is finally getting to be, you know, nice cool temperatures down here in a way that makes me very happy. Probably not a lot of my friends, but you know, makes me very happy at least. And then another red piece and a green. Let's rotate this in the direction that it is in the instructions, so I'm a little less confused. Yeah, I've had the... When you think of the phrase, when you think of the phrase, lo-fi hip-hop, the, like, one with the anime girl studying, I went and glanced at their channel and it said, hey, you're free to use this for live streaming or whatever you want. I was like, excellent. I will do so. I can believe it. I enjoyed my time in Texas, but it is very important to note that I went to Texas in December. So, like, the Texans were all looking at us like we were crazy because we're like, well, it's like the high 70s and I still want to swim because where I'm leaving, it's, you know, below the 50s. No, I don't. At least I don't think Heather's playing ukulele, but... And, the fun bit is, I think the next one of these I do... I don't know how long it'll take to arrive, but the yearly... I think the yearly bonus came in, because I suddenly had a deposit from work that I wasn't expecting. And was like... Hey, Heather, can I can I spend some more money on Legos and then we'll put the rest towards like bills and stuff? And she's like, yeah, I was going to ask you if I could spend some money too, so okay, how much are you? Okay, I already ordered the bonsai tree. So hopefully in a week or two I can do a stream of building the bonsai tree. Finally figured out that now the baby goes to bed between like 6:30 and 7, somewhere around there. Like, I have enough time if I stream after the baby goes to bed, I can actually do some streaming. Okay, so that is... How's that trying to pop out? That's... Okay, I think I am taking this piece. Put this in the end. Excuse me. Yeah, poor Charlie does not do well in the heat at all, and like I've met people who I did not think do well in the heat, and then I've seen Charlie and he just starts to shut down, especially in like the upper 70s. Body starts to go, oh no, I think I am actually dying, and you're like, dude, it's, oh god, you really are. But in terms of winter weather, he is subterranean. Subarctic is the word I want. Subarctic. Okay, so I've made technically a mistake here where I started to build the mirror piece to go here, and I don't know if that, I think that's what's about to happen, but it was not telling me to do so. So we're going to set you to the side and ignore my, and build the piece that it actually tells me to build. Yeah, especially since you've been like involved in a lot of scouting stuff, and I'm sure that there's a lot of ways to keep cool with that, but like any outside summer excursion sound like they would not be pleasant things for you. I figured it out, but I feel like this step here, where it wants me to essentially combine these two pieces so that, you know, the matching pieces go here and here, I feel like they could have a slightly better illustration on that, because that's the part that threw me for a loop for a second or two there. Okay, I'm setting this to the side, and we'll find out if I've made this mistake badly later. I suspect it just that they want me to put the other pieces on first. Flip you over. That was fun. I was watching a, Oh, yeah, that can be a problem when it's headed for 40. Yeah, where you're like, wait, hold on, slow down. I missed that thing that you just said. Nope. 4 is going across the back like this. And then the gray. That's going here. I was also initially disappointed because when I joined the took me a few shots at poking around at things to find where in the Lego VIP club I was supposed to get my, to redeem the thing to get the free keychain. I'm like, I didn't figure out how to get that, so I now had the offer code and then was like, well, I'm gonna have to wait until I can afford to order something else for them to actually send me the keychain. And then the very next time a few hours later, it's like, hey, here, I can afford to buy another piece of Lego, so I can tell them to go ahead and ship me that, whatever the blue keychain is. Then I can be in the cool kids club like my other coworkers. Okay, so now I need these pieces. I know the propensity for washing out that the oh, it should be. So there was like an offer that was like, hey, if you sign up with your VIP, you should get a free keychain. And then when I went into rewards and scrolled down, there was like a reward, and I don't think it was there initially, but it was in rewards, and it was scroll down, and there was a reward for 0 points for a free keychain. And that gives you a code that you input the next time you're ordering something, and they will send you a free keychain with it. Mostly I found it because I had initially wound up on that page searching to see, it's like, oh hey, I'm ordering my first thing from them, is there a promo code that I can use? And they very much list their own promo codes, but that one they were like, yeah, join up with us and you get it for free. I was impressed with the way they would like reuse stuff. Like, I think I remember a set that like this was the tailpipe. Like this piece here was like a tailpipe section with like the exhaust here or whatnot, was like what this piece was originally created for. And then they just use it. I have seen this piece in several other sets, and like I do not at this point own as many sets as, for example, you do, Charlie, but it might have been the horses, because I think I had some of the like medieval set, and that makes the most sense. It's just I remember that being there and then like running into it in like Star Wars sets for like the, like at one point I had one of the pod racers. Okay, there's that, and then this. The neat part about building these newer, like the ideas sets, and the ideas sets are cool just because they like let somebody in the community build something, and then they like, if they can get enough support and enough votes, then Lego goes out and, you know, makes it an official set. One of the reasons I went after this one is because it was being retired. Yeah, they used to have a software that, like, you could just download from their website to, like, build your own pieces, but it was a little bit unstable, and I think they eventually discontinued the use of it. You can still find it online, because I, like, went to search to see, like, what the Lego Designer software is. I'm sure they have something proprietary inside at this point to work with, but they officially stopped supporting that for, like, their, you know, Lego Creator Ideas program or whatnot. But, I remember being, you know, very curious, like, what do they... Oh, no. Sorry, I've been derailed by... They're like, you need 2 of this piece. I'm like, great, Wait. Hold on. Okay, luckily not the most structural piece, but I am just flat out not seeing this bit here lying in my pile of things. Just roll back very slowly and check and make sure it's not found its way to the floor. I'm relatively certain that it will turn up later, but annoyed that I don't see it right now. Yeah, that's the unfortunate bit of the C920, is it winds up being washed out despite its best efforts. And one would think it would get the white balance a lot better. But it's like... this piece here is like slightly toothy piece. And looking here on my table... oh, there we go. Turned over and I couldn't see it. Found it. And that shows some amount of confidence in Lego that I wasn't entirely certain that I had, or wasn't aware that I had, when I'm just sitting there like, well, it's missing. I must have lost it. It's my fault. Like them and IKEA, I'm more likely to blame myself. Good night. I will send in a picture into the one Discord tomorrow, probably. Oop. There we go. So was it the bulldozer or the falcon that you thought you'd lost a piece of? I always feel like, by the way, this is this thing here where you're like just snapping pieces on and kind of folding them down like this. I had some of this with the I started the, let me see if I can just pivot that. I've started the bouquet and decided that I was going to wait so I could build, because it comes with 3 bags, so it seems perfect. Wait so I can build each of the 3 bags, one by myself and one with each of my brothers, since we all, you know, lost my godfather at the same time, obviously. But it would be a nice thing where it's like all the godsons built it together. But the it has some of this too, where it's like you snap a thing on and then you fold it down, but there's not really like a piece to space this out. You just kind of need to like wiggle it and get a feel for where it should be. And that is like the one, like with these, it's the one like unsatisfying thing. I wish it had initially occurred to me, because I probably should have thought of it a little bit earlier. I got very excited and built the first piece, and then Jim mentioned that he was waiting to build the bouquet until his wife got home from work, and that was when I was sitting there thinking, like, I should really, like, I did feel guilty about not being able to, yeah, because it was going to go bad. I couldn't really save any of it to, like, share the edible arrangement or anything like that with them. But I figured at least this, it's like, I can just be less selfish and, you know, like, hold off on building these 3 pieces. Yeah, like, here's what I mean when I say slightly unsatisfying, is now I have to, like, sit here and try to make this stuff match, you know, without, like, really a guide aside from, like, just eyeballing it and wiggling it. But not terrible. Alright. And now this part here is the back. There we go. Snapped right into position. Look down a little bit, thank you. Nope, that is why that is playing wrong, is because that is actually the wrong piece. Okay, but we can work on that. Alright, let's see. Because this should be like this, I think. Alright, so that was supposed to have that piece there. The piece I was worried about earlier, I think I built right and then tried to snap into the wrong place. There we go. And now this is ready to go in down here. I always used to think of hip-hop as kind of the earlier parts of rap, like Will Smith's era of rap. And so when I get to like lo-fi hip-hop beats or whatnot, it just is not what I'm expecting. Okay. Oh, yeah, you don't exactly, you don't exactly want to know that all at once. Very important part of that, where you're like, okay, I'd better delete stuff from my wish list as I buy them, because if I don't, I'll eventually be able to just push a button and tell how much I've spent on Lego. And it's like when games introduce /played, and they're like, hey, you can type this and find out how many hours you've spent on World of Warcraft, and everybody's reaction is something along the lines of, why would I ever want to know that? Please do not put a direct number to exactly how many hours of my life I've wasted. I mentioned it earlier, but fun fact, the Triceratops is my mother's favorite dinosaur. That's alright, that'll do. Okay. So knowing that there is a decent and dangerous chance that you actually pull the trigger on some of that, how bad is your specific wish list? And mine's a lot more subdued, partially because it's like half of my wish list are stuff that like you and Josh own. So like, as much as I love the space shuttle and all that sort of stuff, I'm probably never going to buy myself a copy of the Discovery. But, yeah. And very much like anything over the like $60 or $80 line is probably going to be something that I don't exactly like go out of my way to. I'm probably looking at that like, no, you can't afford that. Don't even put that on your wish list. Yeah, of course I want the Star Destroyer and the Millennium Falcon, although a good deal of that is partially due to I like Star Wars, but I don't think several $1,000s worth of like 3 Legos like Star Wars. Mind you, if they ever get the Star Trek license, I am screwed. It's a play set for kids, and I still occasionally think about spending, you know, about trying to find an excuse to spend $300 to $400 on the Playmobil Star Trek Enterprise. Huzzah and excitement. We're on to bag 3 of 5. If Lego gets it, I might invite you to over to build some of it. And you will know that I am in much greater financial straits than... They release the Enterprise, make it like $700, and I'll just be sitting there going, it's like, yeah, I figured instead of keto, I'd actually just see like how long I can survive off ramen. Here we go. Now I feel like I'm getting into proper Lego building when I've got to build... I mean, yeah, again, it's not the big expensive sets like the Lego or like the Nintendo or whatnot, where it's like build 16 of these. Or I think your typewriter was another one that had like a crazy build 1,000,000 of this one piece. I was pleased it took a few minutes to get the double webcam working. I mean, obviously the focus is fighting me the way it wants to, but until I figured out that it's like, okay, they are both working, OBS will talk to both of them. What I need to do real quick is deactivate the one that's you know, basically, even though it says it's activated, deactivate and then reactivate the camera that was being a problem child, and then suddenly I had 2 cameras working on it. It's fun to have a moment where you like have a thought and then you even slightly feel dumb for having the thought, where you're like, wow, they really put a lot of detail into the... Well, of course they did, it's Lego. Like these pieces I'm building right now, I think are just to like beef up the outer leg bones of the... I'd like to beef up the leg bones of this dinosaur and make it much chunkier. Okay, so that goes there and there. I have made a mistake on all of them. Of course I have. So not that I think I'm helping with this instinct, but do you have any more inadvisably suddenly purchased Lego showing up at the cabin before you leave, or is your next stuff gonna have to be coming back to your house? Okay, this one looks interesting. So considering how much reuse they do, like I wonder what specific circumstances they have to find themselves in before they are willing to, before they're like, all right, we've looked through the catalog, we agree, we can't find a piece that does the exact physical thing you're trying to do, so we will let you, you know, press a brand new, you know, a brand new Lego, a specific Lego brick. How much precedence is there on things like that for, like, I mean, aside from the, I guess the Millennium Falcon. I can believe it. Like, I imagine when they pick up a new license, like, they're like, oh, okay, this character has a specific weapon or something like that. Like, when, you know, some of the Marvel stuff that came out, they're like, okay, yeah, we need to mold an Iron Man helmet. How is that? Yeah, I think I see. There we go. Except these pieces, but I think there's the longer version of this. Yeah, I am correct. It didn't quite look right the way I thought they were telling, or whatever, from what I thought they were telling me. Ooh, we might actually, this next part might actually be building the, I think we might be getting into building the head. Again, it's that thing where it's like I've played around with enough, or you know, with enough of these sets and checked out your builds of these sets that like I shouldn't be okay, Bowser's Castle had the most new elements. I don't know how long it's going to take, but if you do get the Titanic, that's one that for some reason I feel like I'd be interested in helping build. Just because that seems like that would be a really kind of cool engineering piece from that construction. Like when they're like, okay, we gave you like 3 very similar looking pieces, so this one, not this one, not this one. I was about to ponder out loud, but I suspect you might actually have some idea to the answer. Nice. It's like, you might have some idea of the answer. How much, like, playtesting do they do with these? Do they, like, give somebody the set and the instructions and tell, like, you know, run a bunch of people to say, like, okay, now you guys all build this so we can see whether, yeah, whether we need to add, like, a, no, this piece, not these pieces. Down there. No, not that piece, but this piece. Feels sometimes like I wonder too many things, because I was then... Oh, was starting to say is I find myself wondering, like I know it's supposed to be like hip-hop beats to study to and all that sort of stuff, and I'm curious whether they use research in, or whether they've used research in building this list or these beats, and like sort of determining or what is actually good to study to, or is it just sort of something where they're like, no man, we felt it out, you know, we know what felt good to us. And but yeah, you were saying it goes through many revisions. Now, mind you, I never quite know if this is actually accurate, or if I'm literally encountering like 12 different channels and just think they're all the same because the art's all the same. Ah, interesting. Sorry, I know we're on two separate topics at the same time, kind of. But yeah, it's like when I think of lo-fi, this is the channel I think of because it's got that channel Lo-Fi Girl. So it's like, but it has the art of the one girl studying, which is currently holiday themed, but the same general art. So I wonder if it's yeah, that was a bit where it's like, I wonder if it's the same channel that I think of, but it's always the same ones. They use A-chan because she's the one building the beats and running it, or just because they wanted to put someone on there and knew people expect a woman to be on there. Segmented tail. That makes sense. All right, now we are finally actually building the head. So Charlie, I'm a basic bitch whose favorite is the Tyrannosaurus Rex. On the same level, or do you have a different favorite dinosaur? Like, there's other dinosaurs that are definitely cool. Like, I like the fact the Allosaurus is kind of the kind of like a small Tyrannosaurus Rex, but it's like, yeah, no, as much as I feel like it's the most basic, simple answer, it's like, nah, it's just the coolest one. I'm always excited when I go into the number of cities where I've suddenly found myself and been like, oh, what do you mean I'm very near the dinosaurs? Austin is the perfect example. Oh, what was that called? No, my brain is not going to pull that name for me. Corey was the dinosaur kid in our family. I liked them, but Corey was obsessed enough that I'm surprised we didn't burn out the... It was like the Brontosaurus from the, like, argument about it, where it's like, literally... year to year, it goes like, okay, does the Brontosaurus exist or not? And I will usually, like, ping my brother and be like, hey Corey, I forget right now, does are we in an era where the Brontosaurus exists or no? Because they're like, oh no, that's not actually a real dinosaur, that's the Apatosaurus, and then like a couple years later they're like, actually no, we have found out there is literally something different about this that we weren't able to tell before. Yeah, it was the Space Kid for Star Trek reasons. Yeah, I did like I said, I always thought it was funny to be... hello, Nick, how are you? I'm making dinosaurs. I've already made a Pteranodon. And Lego Sapien. Let's see if I put my hand behind it, that might cause the autofocus to play with us. Nope, not this time. And a tiny paleontologist. That's right, DONASORES. We were just talking about the fact that, you know, I'm fairly certain it's the, like, basic bitch answer of this type of thing, but, my favorite dinosaur, so we're in the middle of building the head for the Triceratops, because we've got the whole body and tail built here. And I was in the middle of talking about the fact that, like, my favorite dinosaur is the Tyrannosaurus Rex, even though I always feel like that's probably the most basic answer. Nice. I have done, not the exciting version, but I have done actual, like, paleontology work. The cabin that I would go to from, like... I think we started going back to it as a family in high school, but, like, my uncle used to go when he was very young and stuff like that. So it was literally us sitting, possibly with a magnifying glass, and you'd have, like, a ice cream lid here. And they'd pour out this matrix that had been dug up and then washed with water and then allowed to dry and then sort of put into a thing, so it's been washed off. And you're just picking through it, you know, trying to pick out bones much smaller than this to be able to, like, look for prehistoric squirrel teeth and stuff like that. And we started out working with Carnegie Mellon, and then they kind of cut off funding our site, and we wound up working with Penn State, actually, for a while, before essentially the landowner, this cabin had existed on a plot of land that belonged to a farmer named Mr. Miller, and it was like a handshake deal going back to the 50s. And then finally they're like, we kind of want to take this and renovate the cabin and turn it into, like, a rental property. So it came to an end, which was a bit of a shame, but it was cool while it lasted. So, like I said, not the cool, like, dinosaur work, but, you know, the bit where it's like, I don't like the feeling, but I do vaguely know the feeling of, like, one of the easiest ways to tell, is this a rock or is this a prehistoric tooth, was to rub it on your own tooth. Usually, I let other people do that because my exact reaction was something along the lines of, "Oh dear God, I don't want to do that." Yeah, the old guys, the old guys at the table were always like, "Well, that's the only way you can tell for sure if you're, you know, confused about it." And I'm like, if I'm confused about it, I will choose to ask you, and you can go ahead and do that. I have not great teeth, and that seems like a form of torture. Especially the idea of like, oh no, I was wrong. That wasn't a bone. I just ground a small rock into the front of my tooth. That does not seem pleasant. Okay, come on, eyes. Where is the There it is. There we go. Well, that was the one clip. I don't know if you looked at the... Oh, I need to hydrate. There you go, Shinobi. But the, I don't know if you watched the one clip I posted at one point where it was like, from that, question block build, the one guy's literally, or Barry's literally building something, and then plugs in and turns it over, and he, like, explains what had just happened, and he's like, you know, you're building it from, like, this angle, and then they have you plug a thing in the back and turn it up, and suddenly you're looking and like, oh my god, I've just built a Lakitu. And he's like, how do they surprise you? How does LEGO do this? How do they surprise you with your own hands? Okay, so it's gonna slide on this. It's like one of the reasons I'm really, like, as much as Legos are sort of barely in my price point at times, like, I really want to invest in them and buy the sets when I can, because, like, looking at this, I'm like, okay, I don't really know how this is going to turn into a Triceratops skull just looking at this bit. And I know that slowly over the next few pages of this instruction book, I'm going to start to see things emerge. Okay, I got those on backwards. I was thinking that that didn't push in enough. The only problem I see with the ideas program is, like, I wonder, you know, like, I wonder if we've lost anything really cool. Like, if there was anything that just didn't get the notes because basically somebody was really cool at designing Lego but really bad at like there is some innate part of this that must be, hey, you probably also need to be good at running a little bit of a grassroots social media campaign to be like, hey, come, you know, look, I actually have built something really cool that everybody's going to wish they had, and like, you know, or they just don't get enough votes or whatever. Because like one of the ones that stands out to me is, I mean, I guess I understand because it is a little bit of a self-limiting thing, but like it's always a bit of a shame to me that like whoever came up with the idea and put it together, they did not get enough votes to make it worthwhile to build to like release the official Saturn V launch tower. I should do that more often, especially like now that I own literally the first piece of like Lego ideas stuff that I've purchased. It's like, okay, now I own one of these. I should probably poke through occasionally to vote in case there's something where I'm like, boy, if they put that out, I would definitely not be able to afford it, but try. Yeah, I expect that was a little bit more of a, okay, we're gonna sell this to a subset of people. Yeah, exactly. It's like you need to buy, it's like people need to buy this set in order to, you know, in order to decide to that they need this other set. Why would we, you know, we can't take that monetary risk. Which is definitely a shame, because like once you see the Saturn V rocket, you're like, oh man, this needs that thing. At least I think we dug down and found out it is not easy, because they used to have it just available until basically a whole bunch of like bootleggers came in and immediately started like producing bad versions of their build. But at least it is not impossible to get a hold of the designs for that. It's just the problem where it's like yeah, it just costs excuse me. It's like, yeah, it just costs multiple hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to get all of the pieces you would need, because some of the pieces you would need come from out of print sets. Ooh, and now I've just had the I wonder if like people who build ideas, if like some of the people who really get into it, if any of them like specifically when they're building their idea set, they're like, okay, and I need to find a way to work in this piece because it has really not been in production that often since this thing. It's like, if I can work this piece into it, then they would have to reprint that piece, and it might make it more easy to get a hold of. Yeah, see, I was looking at that thing like, oh, how is this going to be the skull? I snap this in, rotate it back, and it's not quite exactly the same as like the thing I was talking about earlier, but it's still like, oh, okay, that's the set step that snaps on the back and kind of makes that more of a thing. Okay, if I just line that up there. There we go. There's our Triceratops head. And there we go. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's like the only time that I've ever had something like the Lego Ideas thing work out for me was when I had the one shirt printed from Final Fantasy 15, specifically so I could do a cosplay, and put this guy here. I'll leave the paleontologist here so that some stuff is poking back into the frame alongside my little tempting as that is, I don't really need to force it so that the tempted to bring this up a little bit to basically zoom out, but we are having enough issues with zoom that I don't need to do that. Okay. Nice. The T-Rex is bags 4, 5, and 6. I'm actually going to leave this out so people can look at it. Leave this here, and I'm going to grab a little bit more beverage before I continue on. Maybe a snack. We'll find out. I'll be back in a moment. Sorry about that. I had to take a quick idle meeting while I was downstairs. Like this is also doubles as a good like Halloween themed streaming episode because, you know, all these spooky skelly guys. I do like watching the Hollow Council occasionally get used to that idea, since they're so new at it. I forget who it was, but one of them's like, I have to go pee, and the other one's like, no, we're idols. Oh yeah, that's right. I mean, take an idle meeting. That's back one, okay. Does Ollie just not play that game at all? Oh, yeah, like a charge rifle. I think I remember that quote. It'd be something where it's like, if I ever was doing something like that, like, it would take all of my self-control not to just be like, anyway, I gotta go take a wicked idle meeting. You ever take an idle meeting so good that your pants fit better at the end? Okay. Good admit, got some excitement to be building the T-Rex. I'm looking from this angle. It goes inside. This one facing that direction. Gray goes outside. I'm curious if they mention which T-Rex they base this off of. Okay, they mentioned the first partial skeleton was found in the USA in 1900 by Barnum Brown, but they do not mention whether they patterned this one off of any one particular existing T-Rex skeleton. I'm slightly excited, Charlie. I finally realized the answer that should have been staring me right in the face the whole time. Instead of sort of burdening Heather, making her take care of Talia, so I can devote the entire evening to streaming. If Talia manages to go to bed between like 6 and 7, like she normally does, I can make use of that time to actually do a stream. I just have to start at 7 instead of... Yeah, I'd probably generally prefer to start closer to 6, just so that I got longer time, especially because, you know, the later I go, the more people drop off. You know, until I get to be a big, huge streamer that's got some sort of, like, West Coast audience who are like, oh, what do you mean you're cutting off? It's only, like, 6. Not that I think I'll ever get to that level. Maybe someday. God, now it feels like the most dickish time to mention it, but you have your Twitch hooked up to your Amazon Prime account, right? Yeah, the one I mentioned that because if you haven't used your Twitch, you know, your free subscription, or free channel subscription you get free with Amazon Prime, I'd mighty appreciate it. But it's a thing where it's like they kind of made it as annoying as they can. They're like, well, we're giving free money to these streamers, so let's make sure that you have to manually resub every month. It's like, I think you guys are missing the point of the phrase subscription. It's like, I think I've built up like 7 to 8 months of worth of subscription with the streamer I follow, and it's mostly because I never, like, I don't always catch them when they're streaming, and then I forget. It's like, oh, that's right, I need to go back and renew that subscription by hand. You're probably just hoping that you'll decide to throw down the money yourself so that it auto subscribes. I wonder if this is, like, is this just a, like, free, like, I wanted to see this eventually happen type thing? Or does Lego actually, like, when an ideas designer successfully gets their thing funded, do they get, yeah, do they get paid for the service? Oh, there's a dangerous thought for you, Charlie. So not for the, yeah, once you've eventually worked your way through all of the pre-established sets that you can build, start collecting some of the Minecraft sets, and then through a use of either 3D printing or just carefully painting the existing Steve and Alex minifigs, start to create an actual physical version of the Hololive EN Minecraft server. Okay, I want to hold one of these closer to the camera because I kind of really like the... Oh no, I don't mean in Minecraft. I mean with the Lego Minecraft sets. I think it should just be you hit the subscribe button and then it should pop up to basically say like, oh, you've got a free Prime subscription or something. Click over to somebody else's. Yeah, it's somewhere in here. I opened up somebody else's channel, but I actually have spent my Prime subscription this month, so I can't immediately look at how to do it by doing it. But that's no problem. I appreciate you taking a look. One day, through subs and commercials, or subs and ads, I will hopefully build up the $100 that lets me take money out of it. But I'm pleased that I figured out a time and way to actually stream, because it was something that was bumming me out in the back of my mind that I really do like this hobby, but hadn't been able to devote the time I wanted to it recently. It's like I don't think I've streamed since I did Say No More. There we go. Alright. Got some dino legs, got them dino hams. Yeah, especially like, I mean, on one level it is at the most selfish and shaking my head about it, about the way I'm going about things bit of it. I get to spend some time chatting with a friend while I play a game or do something cool. And hopefully, like, I'm kind of in their background, but they're, you know, maybe interacting and chatting. And then there's that absolutely magic moment that happens when, like, suddenly you get somebody really chatty in your, who is not somebody you know personally in the, you know, in the chat. We had a whole evening where, and this is going back a couple years at this point, I think, because of delays in our ability to do it together, but like when we were playing Final Fantasy 13 going up against the final boss of the game, we had somebody who was really knowledgeable about the game sitting in the chat giving us tips while we were beating the end boss of the game, and that was, yeah, that was very exciting as well, because it's like, oh cool, somebody I've not like kind of poked in another chat to be like, hey, I'm on stream, come keep me company. Okay. Oh no, that goes on the other side. Okay. I build that completely backwards. No, there we go. I'm holding it upside down. Alright. Now we're getting into the more exciting build stuff. Getting to build the rib cage and all that. Yeah, I think so. Just from like where its hip bone is standing, that's already taller than both of the previous models. So this one is probably going to be, because I've got like another bag on top of this bag. This one is going to be a large boy. Now when I picked this set, I did actually kind of go over a couple other options that I was contemplating and decide on this set based partially on part count. I was kind of looking at like, hey, look, I really do want this to be a several hour, like, kind of relaxing build. So I need to not pick something that's like, oh, this is really cool, but it has, you know, 200 pieces and will be done in 20 minutes or something. But I am pleased that it does actually seem to be not only living up to, like, to that expectation, but, like, on top of that, like, it's like, it is actually getting to be some larger models than I expected. Kind of initially, like, from looking at the pictures, you kind of like expect them to be like, you know, this big in total or something like that. And it's just because I'm not used to like looking at the Legos and kind of immediately having a picture in my mind of how big that model's actually going to be, but I guess some other part of it is an expectation that... Yeah, that's actually... I mentioned at the beginning of this, I think before you jumped on, one of the other reasons I, like, jumped on this model is I'd already been eyeing it up, and then they had listed that it was retiring soon, and when my grandfather worked for Fisher-Price, one of the things he brought home that was, like, one of the coolest toys I owned, or like my brothers and I shared forever, was this set that had literally been rejected. It had been decided that they weren't going to produce this, and I think eventually they produced a different version that I saw like years later. But it was like a build your own fossils kit. And it like came in like a box that kind of looked like a paleontologist box, but then there were like 3 or 4 dinosaurs that you could actually mix and match the pieces. So you like take the Tyrannosaurus skull and put it on the, you know, on the Diplodocus, body and stuff like that. But it had been rejected because the parts were too small and like kids could choke and all that sort of stuff. But we had access to it because Grandpa worked there, and you know, he was fairly confident that we weren't going to swallow the small parts. So I kind of had my eye on this in terms of a like, oh no, it's kind of cool to like have a, you know, toy thing that is a fossil kit, because it kind of reminds me positively of that thing. And then yeah, that was the other thing that was like okay, yeah, it's like part 1 was, okay, it's got enough pieces, it will actually keep me entertained for like an entire evening. And then part 2 of it was, and also I have that like fond memory from when I was young that this will positively tickle. Well, that was an unpleasant sudden stream guest. I'm like, what is tickling my... Oh, I have a spotted lanternfly on me for some reason. Well, you need to be smacked off of me and then probably die. I usually tend to be a lot zen, a lot less prone to kill bugs and more prone to like get rid of them. But like I know that one's a particularly invasive pest that they've basically said like, look, I know, I get it, kill them anyway. It's like it's not even just that they're highly invasive, it's like they are very damaging to the local flora. And that has knock-on effects for things like bats and all sorts of stuff that I care much more about than I do this spotted lanternfly, so they can die. Yep, of course. Although there's also an extra bit of delay where it's like chat is up here. It's literally on the window or on the monitor that the camera's on top of. I'm looking down here. So I'm trying, like, I have to look up every few moments to check it. It's like, kill that, go back to building, look up, notice that you've talked about killing it. I can flip and rotate and grab this piece. So you know you... Ah, yes, that does make sense. It's like I am luckily reading it from... Like, I've got a preview of the screen, so I do see when it pops up there, but I am reading it from, like, the chat window that I think is a little bit ahead of that delay. But you're right, the way that basically it winds up being like, you type a thing, I say the thing, and then the thing pops up after I've said it. Latency. I keep looking at some of these pieces, and I understand, like logically I understand that we are not putting a chair in here, but like half the things that I built, I've been like, is this a chair for a Lego man? Is this a chair for a Lego man? Why is there a chair for a Lego man in this dinosaur? I mean, you guys are the master builders, but still, this seems a little weird to me, Lego. They're just sitting there like, why does this guy think there's a chair in the middle of this dinosaur? So you said that the next stuff you build will have to be back in PA type stuff. Is there already something on the docket, or is that more of a, well, you know you're going to buy more Lego at some point, and You can only hope that you recover your finances a little bit before you make that purchase. That's true. We have definitely approached the point of spending too much time together. Not in any bad way, but in very much a, yeah, now their brains work the same way sometimes. Push that down. Our old friend Horsepiece returns. Nice. So I know you kind of built a shelf to put some stuff on. Is that? I mean, I imagine that's already completely blown out of room unless you find. Yeah, it's like I imagine that basically can't support the Millennium Falcon. I wonder if that's some guy's career. I was gonna say from the discussion earlier, I wonder if that's some guy's career goal at Lego. He's like, no, I can retire happy if I actually manage to make them allow me to mint a brand new block. Somebody else sitting there going like, that's an insane career goal to have. It's like, yeah, but one day, you know, a man can dream. Oh, I need to see a... Okay, I almost missed a step back there. Luckily, it was one of those moments where you're like, okay, I don't see how that's supposed to fit right unless... Okay, yep, there's the step I missed that puts that piece in place. Oh, I'm sure they did. That would be probably the ultimate bit of it, is if you get on some license where you're like... I mean, especially if you gotta be like, no, we need to match, like, this shape exactly. And also, like, if... Like, I would call it a partial success if I was that guy and I'm like, well, I got put on the Batman thing and they didn't have one, so I needed to make a Batman helmet piece that didn't exist before this. But I don't feel like that really counts. Yeah, then you probably still want to be on like some licensed team so you can be like, okay, yeah, that's the piece. This piece doesn't technically exist, but to get the shape of the castle right, we need this kind of basic looking piece to exist. So now I'm curious what the entire point of this is. Oh, nice! Found the button. Thank you for the Prime sub. They've put a clear block in the middle of this, and I'm now kind of curious what they need to float on top of it. Man, talk about a hobby that gets expensive fast. Like, I can feel this hobby already being expensive because it's like, it's too much fun. It's too relaxing to sit here, you know. I've got the lo-fi hip-hop is definitely helping with the relaxing part of it, but, you know, sitting here building for, you know, at this point in the stream, we are at almost 3 hours. But just building, it's very satisfying to, like, be doing something with my hands like this. But knowing that it's like, okay, well, once I finish building this, that's it. I'm done. I'm not going to take it apart and, like, put it in storage or something like that. I'm probably going to find some place in my house to display it, and I am going to be sitting there going, boy, I really miss having that, you know, having something to build and just wanting to buy another set, not because it's like, oh my god, it's the Star Trek Enterprise, I need to own it, but it's like, boy, what kind of set can I afford with a lot of pieces just so I can get that, like, relaxing feeling again. You know, admitting that out loud, it's probably a good thing that I think Heather's, like, she's got the video up downstairs so she can watch, but I think she is, I think she has me turned down so that she can listen to something on her phone while I'm going on the TV. So she is completely missing me saying out loud, boy, I can feel that this could be something that makes me spend a whole bunch of money. It's funny, I decided to go ahead and order the Duplo set instead of going with the slightly large, like the Mega Blocks for babies. Just as a, like, okay, this is not too expensive, and if it's too early for her, we can put it away. I think by the time it's actually going to ship, Talia should be the right age. It's like initially they were like, oh, this will ship in November, and then they came back and basically corrected it immediately, like, okay, you probably won't see this till December, sorry. Yep, and then I'll have years while I will have excuse And also an extreme frustration whenever we try to build something. Tried to build a like a Minecraft set with Heather's nephew when he was, you know, super young, and like, if I'm honest, it was just a moment of like, okay, yeah, no, I should have realized this kid is just going to want to basically go to free build as soon as possible, rather than, like, by the time I had Legos, you know, or where it was like a set, like I had a bunch of like, just like a chest of bricks for free building. By the time I had a set, like, I was old enough to really be like, no, I'm at least gonna build the object once, and then maybe I'll tear it apart and go on to free building from there, but currently are with the T-Rex. We just built the like front chest plate things. Yeah, well, it was like, I wasn't buying the sets. Heather's brother basically wanted to be, because he knew like his son was into Minecraft and into Legos. He wanted to be the person in the family who bought. He was like, yeah, you can buy him, here's the other stuff on his list, but let me buy him the Minecraft Legos. And I understood that, like, desire to be the hero of Christmas instinct, so it kind of led, you know, we bought him something else, but then yeah, when it like came time to open them up, I was like, oh yeah, let's build this, and I'd be building something that literally would rip pieces off of the stuff I was trying to build there with him, and I'm just sitting there like, you know what, he's a young kid, this is his Christmas present. If this is how he wants to play with it, this is how he wants to play with it, and I will just have to be slightly unsatisfied at having not been able to like build the thing before he tore it apart. Which, as much as maybe the instinct wasn't the most mature, at least I was mature enough to be like, no, just let him have it. Gotta take the small wins where you can get them. Yep, well, it's either that or, like, obviously the other side of that, it is the, like, I'm internally screaming feeling, because the like, outside other option on that one is to force your will on the child and then just have to apologize to your in-laws for the, in-laws or relatives, whatever, for the, child who's now screaming because you're annoyed at how they want to play with their Christmas toy. You just don't want to be the adult who's going, but he's doing it wrong. It's that smile and nod, smile and nod. Well, yeah, eventually you just get your own set type thing. How is that? There's that bit. I think we're lining up like... Oh. That went launching. True. Luckily, the Minecraft sets have not naturally, like, have not naturally caught my attention, because it's like, I mean, it is the natural evolution of Minecraft. It, like, makes the most sense. And luckily I caught those when I flipped them off the the side there. Yeah, it's like Minecraft ones haven't caught that. There's the literally feels like the natural evolution of what Minecraft always meant to be. Because it was always like, what is Minecraft? Well, it's like Legos, but for the computer. And then they made Legos, and you're like, yeah, that feels right. That feels like what you guys intended to be. But it was always one of those like, but I want to build something interesting with the Legos, not just like, I've built what in Minecraft would be an empty field for me to build things on. Like so. The other shape of that piece. There we go. I missed the part where it has a piece on the back too. Yeah, that's about what I thought was my... It is very much... I think I announced at the time, it's like, look, it's the you know, horse lead piece again. And immediately it becomes the same, like, alright, now build this piece 8 times. Wonder if they just wanted to hide the clear block in there, because it doesn't seem like it does a lot structurally. Like, we're at the point where I am now adding the ribs to like hide it away, but that like clear plastic block, it's bridging a gap, but it's not like clipped on the other side of the gap, so maybe there's like a particular designer somewhere in their thing who's like, no, that's my signature. That's how you can tell I worked on a piece. I hide a clear plastic brick in there with no other point than me being able to point to it and say, that's my design. Yeah, now I think we actually slot this into the legs. Alright. I need to build the other. Go. Got a nice torso going here. Now I was kind of wondering about that next piece. Like, well, I got a lot of pieces left here and a lot of exposed thigh bone. Oops. Okay, so that's that. Now we must chunk the T-Rex's legs. Make sure the T-Rex legs have that cake. I like how despite the fact that there were 900 pieces in this, I still kind of thought that they were going to be, like, somewhere on the scale of the space shuttle. My space shuttle versus, not your space shuttle, obviously, but, like, my space shuttle versus the T-Rex. It is going to be adorable. Still building something. Oh, neat. Neat. I'm seeing what this is doing ahead of it, and I'm liking it. One up. One down. I think you were suggesting that maybe they are a little bit off from each other. Ladies and gentlemen of the Twitch audience, we have the T-Rex arm. Got those tiny CeeLo green hands. There we go. T-Rex hands. All right. They also do have, and like I think Lego has an appreciation for like a satisfying build order sometimes. Like, we're on to bag 6. This is our final bag. We need a tail and a head. And we're going to start by building the tail. Because they know that, like, the T-Rex skull is going to be the, like, the piece where you're like, oh my god, that's how we're built. Okay, that's cool. Like, there was a while, there was that, like, kind of chintzy shop in the Harrisburg Mall where you could, for, like, a ridiculous price, and they probably had it there as, like, well, we might sell one of these, but for a ridiculous price, you could buy, like, a cast of a T-Rex skull, and you would just be sitting there, like, looking at that thing all day. You'd be like, I'm at the mall, I need to go visit the T-Rex skull because it's awesome. And they're like, okay, we can have them build the tail first, or we can have them build the head first. And somebody's like, well, we better have them build the tail first, because if we have them build the head first, the tail's going to feel like a disappointment. Two of those. It's like, and I think that's part of it, is I think like letting it bounce around in my brain for a moment is something satisfying about Lego, is that you can feel that thought being put into it. It's like a million different projects and toys and stuff like that, you know, no matter how, you know, deeply thought through or how many meetings they had to come up with to make the new toy or the new Power Ranger or whatever, you know, I think with Lego you can feel that thought process where it's a lot more invisible in certain things. But like with Lego, if your brain is just kind of pondering it for a moment, you're like, oh, that's a really clever thing, and I can kind of feel the intention is there. Like just in terms of build order, the fact that this started with the little paleontologist guy, and then went to the Pteranodon, and then they had you build the Lego Sapien, and then the Triceratops, you know, with the exception of like the brief pit stop for the Lego Sapien, he's sort of a cool, lighthearted moment almost. And then you go into the serious build of the Triceratops, and then there's like some of the stuff that you've done in the Triceratops you're doing again in the T-Rex, but it's bigger now and it's like more so. So I think that's it. I think like with the Lego sets, you can kind of feel the intention of, you feel the thought process and the fact that like everybody was, you know, really focusing on making this thing a enjoyable experience, partially knowing, I'm sure on some level, you know, marketing and the management structure, knowing it's like, well, if we nail this, you know, $50-$60 set, then, you know, literally it will be an enjoyable enough experience that some idiot with disposable income is going to come along and buy even more. Like, I know just financially I'm unlikely to buy one of the, you know, several hundred dollar sets. Like, I might, at this point in my life, I might splurge occasionally on like 100 and something. But as far as like the $500 sets, but there's that part of me that's now like, oh no, I've spent enough time like building these that I feel like I can trust them to make that, you know, and you know from experience, but it's like, I know I can trust them to make that an enjoyable enough experience to make it feel like that was money that was worth it. You know, especially once especially if Talia, you know, actually, you know, as I would hope, if Talia actually enjoys playing with Lego, and, you know, at that point, you know, again, we are talking several years, if not almost a decade from now, you know, if she was of an age that she could actually sit and enjoy building it with me, you know, that would be really cool. But yeah, the fact that, like, at this point I can say, I know if I give Lego that much money for the set, it will be like, I can trust them to make it feel worth spending that much money on this set. Figured you were going towards something like that, so Sure, every set has a piece that you're kind of starting to get tired of fixing, and I'm really... like these little tiny... little... that's not going to show it well. This piece. I'm starting to get annoyed at, like, snapping this thing. Yeah, and, like, luckily I don't have the... enough of an obsession with, you know, it's like, I'll admit, I like the Millennium Falcon enough. I could see, you know, one day down the line. But, like, not enough to run out and be rabid about it myself. I have these. Okay, they are focused. They're facing the right direction. Yeah, again, not the way that I would be if they were like, hey, we got the Star Trek license. Here's an Enterprise, you know, original series Enterprise. Come get it. Also, just so you know, you should probably get a second mortgage on the house because we're working on our designs for the Enterprise D and, you know, for all of the Enterprises. And I'd just be like, oh no. Like, certainly lowest on my list is going to be the Enterprise C, but I still have an emotional tie to literally every model of that damn ship. That's just more of the same piece. No, okay, those are that piece is smaller. The bit where it's like, I know I accused myself of being a little bit basic for just being like, nah, I think my favorite dinosaur is the Tyrannosaurus. But, like, as I'm building it, I'm just like, I mean, come on, it's... like, the tail vertebrae of this thing. Make it... you know, make the tail of this thing look like a freaking chainsaw. Or not like a real chainsaw, but like kind of what, you know, sci-fi and stuff like that needs to be for the... it's like what 40K teaches me a chainsaw looks like. Well, again, it's not the E. They don't... I mean, I don't think they even call it the E. They're just like, yeah, we pulled it out of mothballs. But I know you're acknowledging that with the quotes. But that would be something that would be hilarious, is essentially somebody who's like, yeah, no, and then they built like a very specific piece for that nacelle piece, so I had to spend $800 on a second set. just so I could kit bash together this All Good Things Enterprise D for the for my YouTube channel. Some dude with a couple million subscribers, and yet still at that price just barely turns out even on the monetization from that video. There we go. Getting closer. Well, you see, I know you think you're like, it's a thing you'd like to do, but I suspect that you would actually go, it's like, no, I would rather get, you know, this other Enterprise, this other, you know, ship. I mean, you realize what the funniest build from that entire thing would be. It would be where it's like they take most of what they learned from the question block, spray paint it green and black, and then sell it to you without any, like, without much opening. They're just, you just basically like come out and build a solid cube, and they're like, it's the Borg cube. By the way, thanks for ruining my mind, Charlie. I'm looking for a 2x2 piece, and all my brain can think of is Guru going, yeah, 2x2, right? Poor Shork Brain. That's kind of a cool thing to... It's both cool and kind of crazy, where you're like, oh yeah, you know, over here is Kiara giving like German and Japanese lessons, very, very basic ones. And then over here is somebody teaching, you know, I don't know exactly how advanced of mathematics that is. I don't think we're, I think we're to the upper levels of algebra with matrix operations rather than, you know, into calculus much. Ah, there you go, pre-calculus. So yeah, kind of the end stages of algebra. It was always a minor regret, is so Middletown, the way my first high school dealt with teaching the way my first high school dealt with teaching geometry was all proofs. So basically every single test and quiz and everything like that was memorize the 12 steps to prove, by writing it out, to prove that a, you know, right triangle is a right triangle. You know, and be able to regurgitate those theorems and stuff like that. And when I got to Hershey High, I basically went in with like an F in geometry because I could not memorize. And did well enough on my tests and stuff like that that I actually got out, you know, managed to pass and get out of it with like a C, you know, a high C, low B, something like that. But because of that, it's like, even though the teacher kind of understood, he like still was like, yeah, with your grades, I can't really sign off on Algebra 2 trig or whatever it was. The thing that would let me, by the time I left high school, I would have had the pre-calc class under my belt. And I feel like that probably would have set me up a little bit better for taking calculus in college. So it's a bit of a shame that that's how it turned out. And now, of course, a few years post-college, and I am annoyed by how much I would have to, like, look up and do probably an hour or two of reading to remember how to do derivatives entirely. And maybe I'll look up Ollie's stream just so I can get it fresher in my mind and be a little bit happier about that. Alright, let's see what we're dealing with here. Alright. Okay, so we've now... Okay. We're definitely into end stages because we've just built the neck of the T-Rex. I think... like this. Yep. There it is. Let's see. Are you coming back from Vermont this weekend? I remember you were wavering a little bit on which of those two you were going to do, so you're now into the drive back from Vermont, you know, leaving early enough in the morning to be here to like pick me up after work. Well, I can understand your feelings. I mean, trust me, I think I've explained where my brain has been in the past, you know, in terms of like, oh man, I should never have left Vermont in the past few, weeks, but, like, I definitely think it's probably a better idea, and then you don't have to, because otherwise you are looking at, like, so many hours of driving, and then on top of that, like, immediately I'm going to be like, all right, great, Charlie, now we need to set up a convention. Definitely strikes me as it might be a better idea not to go into an anime convention sleepless and wrecked. Maybe at the very least, like, take Wednesday to drive to drive back to PA, and then, you know, take Wednesday to drive back, and then Thursday work, and then we leave for Derby. Because I mean, what I see as the chief obstacle here is I have helped you winterize that cabin. So unless you are spending like a significant portion of Wednesday or something like that winterizing the cabin, like I can easily... We were supposed to leave by noon the first time I went up to Vermont with you, and we left at 3 p.m. Yeah, it would definitely... Yeah, definitely yield the less painful experience. Plus, Charlie, I need you with it. You've got to be with it for DerpyCon. Because we're going to be in a new area. We need to find the hole-in-the-wall delicious places that make us look forward to DerpyCon every year. Like, I'm aware I'm going to DerpyCon, and there's some part in the back of my head that's now, like, pouting, and that pouting is coming directly from the part of my brain that's aware that we're not going to go to Raoul's because we're not in Morristown anymore. I need to remember before it's too late. I mean, I'll loosely be on keto. We are trying to get... It's a bit where we will be off the ground and running as much as possible. Luckily, we do get paid that weekend, but yeah, I definitely can understand broke. Yeah. You're right, I've kicked off keto, but there is the bit where it's like I might have a couple of false starts, and DerpyCon is a very difficult convention to be 100% keto at. I have to make sure I grab some stuff. Since my paycheck's been coming in weirdly early, although this week it didn't come, or last time it didn't come in until Thursday, which didn't ruin me, but it did make life a little bit annoying when things are suddenly less predictable than they were. But yeah, it's like I'll need to make sure I grab a few things to at least not completely ruin everything. I'm starting to feel sad because these are like the last few pieces. Excited to get to the end and already missing it. There's something I've found out that some people do with like video games that they're really enjoying that, like, to me sounds like madness. You ever decide not to finish a game because you're enjoying it too much, and once you finish it, it's over? Yeah, sometimes life decides that for me, and I've very much gotten to the point where, like, if I haven't picked up a game, if I've put a game down and I haven't picked it back up for a while, I just basically say, let myself go. It's like, okay, that just means I wasn't enjoying it that much in most cases. We've got T-Rex skull. Alright, so it is showing that as down a little bit more. Okay, that's neat, and I don't remember if I saw this in or if I saw this page in your discovery book or not, but I like that they give you all the part numbers and how many pieces there should be, so you can reorder them if you need to contact them. There we go. Oop. I have just smacked something off of this. Great. Go back there. Alright. Try and get this. And the one thing that's the thing that's really neat about the way they built it is because of the way they've built the joints and stuff, like there's just a little bit of shake that is like very satisfying in a, you know, this is the skeletal structure of an animal, not, you know, not like a statue of a T-Rex bone. Alright. Pull all of these back into space, and then I'm going to got a little guy here, and pile of stuff can be here in the background. Grab a photo of this in a moment, but first I'm going to bring this camera down to that level. Surprise, it's me. There we go. That wants to go that way. If I get this as a good framing, that'll be a good image to end on. Oh no, I had flipped it upside down. Hanging in the from above. All right. Well, thank you, Charlie, for going the distance with me, and thanks everybody else who stopped in. Anybody who checks the video out later. That's me for the evening. I'll probably be back in a week or two with the bonsai tree. Look forward to catching everybody later.